most respectful obeisances to all the life of the Lord, who just like desire trees, who fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Big crowd. All right. Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardha Hude Gopi Janabalaba Girivardha Hude Yasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tera Banachari Jayo Randam Madhuva Kunya Bihari Jairadhu Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Madhava Girivardhari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhari Yasuranandana Prajajanarandana Yasuranandana Prajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihare Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya Otutata Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagadasami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samariti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shatani. So we are reading from the 10th canto, 46th chapter, text 21. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Smaratang Krishna Viryani Ilapanga Anirikshitam Hasitang Vashitang Changa Sarva Na Stila Kriyaha Smaratam Krishna Viryani Lila Panga Nirikshitam Asitang Vasitang Changa Sarvanak Stitila Kriyaha Smaratam Krishna Viryani Lila Ponga Nikshitam Asitang Vasitang Changa Sarvana Stithila Kriyaha. Okay.
tilapia. Anyone else? Okay. Smaratam, who are remembering. Krishna Viryani, the valorous deeds of Krishna. Leela, playful. Apanga, with sidelong glances. Nirikshitam, his looking. Hasitam, smiling. Bhashyatam, speaking. Ja, and Anga, my dear Uddhava. Sarva, all. Na, for us. Sittila, slackened. Kriya, material activities. So translation, as we remember the wonderful deeds Krishna performed, his playful sidelong glances, his smiles, and his words, O Uddhava, we forget all our material engagements. So you can repeat. As we remember the wonderful deeds Krishna performed, his playful sidelong glances, his smiles, and his words. O Uddhava, we forget all our material engagements. So there's no purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, but there are commentaries by the Acharyas, which I'm going to read. So there's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, and he comments, by the nectar of remembrance of his moon-like face, all pain will vanish. That is true, but though remembering him removes all suffering, now that remembrance gives us more suffering by great misfortune. When we remember him, we lose all interest in everything. Though we continue to bathe, eat, and perform other daily activities by rote, that means it's less like automatic pilot. You just keep doing these things, and you're just like, did I actually bathe this morning? You know, sometimes it's like it when you're very much absorbed in something. I mean, even materially it works like that too. If you're very much absorbed in something, you just wonder, did I eat today? No, you never wonder that. But did I say my noon dietary? Isn't it? When something is really like absorbed your consciousness completely. So even materially, we do experience that. That's absorption. We have lost interest in these things also. In this state, we cannot remain alive. So in other words, everything appears dull in comparison to the thoughts of you, and nothing makes sense anymore. It's like before we joined the Hare Krishna movement. So Jiva Goswami comments, in 2 verses, Nanda remembers his powers and his sweetness. 2 things. This is what we're going to talk about today. He informs Uddhava of his daily suffering. We remember Krishna's prowess. The word Krishna should also be supplied to the other items. In other words, Krishna's smile, Krishna's prowess, Krishna's sidelong glances. Even though Krishna is not applied there, it's implied. You understand? It's implied. That's Krishna. He's not talking about his wife's sidelong glances. I mean, it's an obvious thing. We're going to talk about sidelong glances in a second because they're quite interesting subject matter. We should remember Krishna's prowess. The word Krishna should also be supplied to other items. Nanda was unable to say Krishna's name repeatedly. He showed prowess in swallowing the fire. Not only did he show heroic acts, but he also sweetness, such as playful glances in one direction out of shyness. He attentively glanced everywhere with affection. At the same time, he smiled. And then he spoke. Remembering that and then experiencing pain, we stop our work. Because of inner disturbance, external actions stop. This has been arranged by the Lord. We should remain healthy by engagement and thinking of other things, but we cannot do that. Of course, that's one of the Vyabhachari Babas, or what we call Sanchari Babas, Vyabhachari Babas, because being stunned or death actually is not death per se, but just like for all intents and purposes, one becomes as if a dead person without actions. All the bodily functions, I mean, at least the external bodily functions, they just stop, and one remains stunned. So Sanchari, actually the word Sanchari is very interesting, which sometimes is the same as Vyabhachari Baba, means the emotion that moves throughout the whole body. It's a moving, isn't it? Because you're expert in Sanskrit. Sanchari Bhava, it's the Bhava that goes all over the place in the body. So then Sanatana Goswami comments, after describing his pastimes, Nanda shows Krishna's attractiveness in his own misery. We remember his astonishing deeds such as killing Putana. The word Krishna applies to all the elements, same thing, listed in his glances, smiles, and words, though it is in one compound only. Leela means very playful. All these elements were very attractive to the heart. The order is with increasing excellent. Actually, there's an editing mistake. Increasing excellence, it should say here. Words being most attractive. Sometimes in these commentaries, because the commentaries are actually translated by one of my godbrothers who also speaks Japanese. So sometimes the English is not quite. We've run into this when we're reading the Jaiva Dharma in the evening. Sometimes, we just have to really straighten up the English and try to understand what's happening. And so this is what's happening. It says increasing excellence, words being most attractive. This is clear from the statement like the following. Madhuraya gira balguva ayaya mura manogaya pushkarekshana vidikaririma vira uyatir adarasundana payasvana. O lotus-eyed one, by your sweet voice and charming words which attract the minds of the intelligent, we have fainted. Our dear hero, please revive your maidservants with the nectar of your lips. That's from the Bhagavatam 10:31-8. In speaking, the smiles and glances are also present. Actions can also refer to daily or periodic acts such as eating. By this remembrance, we become slow in executing duties. Or being distracted, we cannot complete our actions. So this amazing verse. So let's go back to the verse and read that again. So again, the verse. Smaratam Krishna Viryani Nipanga Nirikshitam Lilapanga Nirikshitam Asitam Bashitang Changa Sarvana Sitilas Kriyaha. So Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmiritam Yena Tasmai Shigurveda Maha. So first I'm going to read the same verse that's in the Gopal Champu. It's not the verse, but basically it's a little bit a variation on this verse. So this is from the Gopal Champu. His laugh, his speech, his playful glance, his gestures, which were all sources of happiness previously, make us into immobile objects which limp bodies, since they now playfully pierce all our vital organs. Gopal Champu. So that means Sanchari Baba moves all around. So it's interesting. It starts out with Krishna Viryani. So Krishna Viryani, Vira, just like a I was looking at this verse and thinking, oh, this is the opposite of my name, isn't it? Bir Krishna, Krishna Viryani, right? So people often ask, what does your name mean? So it means a servant of Krishna who is heroic. And so when you have Krishna Viryani, it means Krishna's activity, heroic activities. So it's a little bit different, but it's the same thing, basically. So this, of course, refers, as mentioned in the purport, to the activities that are like killing the demons. Doesn't refer to his sweet activities, which is mentioned here, such as, eating prasad, he doesn't eat prasadam, eating boga and smiling and sidelong glasses and everything like that. And so some of these activities that are thought of by Nanda Maharaj are things like the killing of the Trinavarta demon. Trinavarta demon was the whirlwind demon who lifted Krishna up into the air, and Krishna became so heavy that he caused Trinavarta to crash to the ground, and Krishna, that's an heroic activity, and Krishna killed him, of course. Lifting Govardhan is definitely an heroic activity. I mean, heroic, okay, let's talk about heroic. This was actually mentioned in in one of Socrates' dialogues, what is heroism? Remember reading that? No. Socrates has all these interesting dialogues. What is heroism? Heroism means to do something like amazing, above and beyond what people think is your ability. That's what hero, risking your life. Okay, risking your life, doing something. If I, for example, I'm not going to do this, but if I were to kill a bug, that's not an heroic activity. Or if I was to wrestle with Ishwara and beat him up, that's not heroic. So that's not heroic. Heroic means like doing something that's above your pay grade, apparently above your pay grade. You know pay grade? Your level. Like it. So you have a little kid who's Krishna, and he lifts this big hill to save the residents of Vrindavan. Or he kills the Trinavarta demon. It was a big, humongous demon. It's apparently above Krishna's pay grade, above Krishna's ability. Or when a devotee, or let's say Prabhupada, here's heroic activity, Prabhupada's heroic activity. When Prabhupada came to the Western world, obviously he was always protected by Krishna, but he was risking everything. He was heroic. These are activities that really inspire us, isn't it? If you think about all these different stories, the hero's journey. You understand? Hero's journey. Hero's journey means like these different stories that people have that someone, real small, like, I hate to mention this, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. This little guy, whatever he is, he goes and he saves the universe, saves the world, isn't it? Or Prabhupada, 70, almost 70 years old, and goes to the Western world with no money. All the odds are against him. Or another one, in the Bible, you have what? David and Goliath, right? You know this story? There's this big Rakshasa. And what he does, this Rakshasa is attacking the people. Actually, my people. Anyway, so he was attacking my people. And David, little guy, little boy, he comes out with a slingshot. Right? Boom. Rakshasa's dead. Pretty cool, isn't it? And then, that's a story that inspires us. Or, getting back to Prabhupada. Prabhupada goes to the Western world in old age, no money in his pocket, all the odds externally are against him. And then he's successful. So it's an inspiring story. Like, we also have these, rags to riches stories in America that inspire us in our Vaishya consciousness. So I remember joining the movement that we were inspired by Prabhupada's story to go out and risk our lives. And I remember, I didn't risk my life that much. But yeah, we went to South America where in many places it was quite dangerous because they thought we were all CIA agents. I remember one of my godbrothers, I was the temple president in Caracas, Venezuela. Well, one of my godbrothers, he went to the university to preach. He was American. And a whole horde of students was running behind him, shouting, "Sia! Sia!" which in Spanish means CIA. See? Verdad? No? See? Yes. Hopefully they're listening. So that, yeah, at least in Venezuelan Spanish. And so, he just escaped narrowly with his life. So other people like Rita Nenmar going to South America, people going to Africa and different dangerous situations in Africa. And devotees went, at Prabhupada's word, they went to Pakistan, right? Or devotees in Ukraine now who are preaching Krishna consciousness. I mean, these are heroic activities. This is Viryani, Krishna Viryani, Vaishnava Viryani, right? Same thing. So this is actually very inspiring. So anyway, Dandamar is remembering these things, Rishdashur, here's this little boy. He just takes this Rishdashur and kills him, or other demons like that. Keshi demon, little boy sticks his fist in the mouth of this giant horse. Can you imagine that? Little boy goes into the mouth of this big snake, Arishtashura. Not Arishtashura, sorry. Yeah, Arishtashura. Goes into the mouth of Arishtashura and chokes him to death. Danagasura, of course, that was Balaram and Krishna. Little boys, they take these asses by the tail and chuck them by the legs, the hind legs, and chuck them into the trees. That's heroic, isn't it? I mean, think about it, because of the contrast. That's what makes something heroic. Not just picking on a little guy, some big guy picking on a little guy. Or someone risking their life. So anyway, so he's remembering this, and then he starts to remember the sweet aspects. So there's the Aishvarya aspect of the Lord, and there's also the Madhurya aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's said that if one simply concentrates on the Aishvarya aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't go to Vrindavan. He goes to Dwarka or to the Vaikuntha planets, isn't it? So in order to actually go back to home, back to Krishna Loka, we should try to concentrate. Of course, we appreciate the heroic activities, as Lord Kapiladev says, Satam prasangam mama virya samvado, bhavanti vritkana rasayanakata. Satangam, the devotees meet with each other, and mama virya samvada, they hear talks about the heroic activities of Krishna. Of course, Lord Kapiladev is an incarnation of Krishna, or avatar, to be more precise, of Krishna. Mama virya samvado. Bhavanti vritkarna, because hearing these things, the heroic activities and the intimate Madhurya activities actually enters into the heart. Bhavanti vritkarna goes from the ear to the heart, vritkarna, ritsayana kata, and acts in a medicinal way. Tajoshanadashu apavarga vartmani shradavrataya bhakti anukramishati. So in this way, there's a whole progressive path where one gets faith, shraddha, ratir, taste, and ultimately Krishna consciousness, bhakti or prema in this particular case. So, it's important to hear about these things. So anyway, I was also thinking we have Madhurya, we have Aishwarya, and we also have Audarya. These are the three aspects of Krishna's pastimes. Think about it. Because in addition to Krishna killing these demons, that's before I talk about Lord Chaitanya, but in addition to Krishna killing these demons, he was merciful to the demons. So you actually have Audarya, too, mixed with Krishna's pastime, which Nanda Maharaj basically doesn't appear to know about that stuff. Because he's not really thinking of Krishna as God. He's not thinking, Krishna killed Putana, and then Putana became Krishna's mother in the spiritual world. Because he's not aware that Krishna's God. So he's not really so much aware of Krishna's Audarya relationship with the demons that he killed. But you got those three things. And of course, with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is primarily Audarya. He doesn't go around killing demons. And I guess he's heroic in the sense he, preaches Krishna consciousness everywhere. But it's not in the same sense that Krishna is heroic. So it's Audarya. So devotees really have to balance all these different aspects of understanding Krishna and in their own lives too. Right? It's not that we should just be extreme and just go to Madhurya. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he was as hard as a thunderbolt sometimes, as soft as a rose. And also Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, he was known as the Shinga Guru. That means, very heroic, and also at the same time, Madhurya, and also very Audarya, right? So it's interesting. I was thinking about this in our own personal lives. Just like Nanda Maharaj is doing this in relationship to Krishna. He's balancing, of course, not the Audarya so much, but the Madhurya and the Aishwarya right here. He's balancing like that. But personally, we have to be balanced in all these. Therefore, we worship Lord Chaitanya. We appreciate his mercy. And we appreciate Krishna's sweetness. And we appreciate Krishna's mercy. And we appreciate Krishna's heroic activities, his Aishwarya. Now, the interesting thing we were reading the other night in the Jaiva Dharma, that if one just concentrates on the Audarya in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and he goes to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Goloka Vrindavan. It's interesting. I mean, I knew this all along, but I just wanted the reference, and it's there in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's work of the Jaiva Dharma. And then if one is just concentrating on Krishna's sweetness, and a little bit of Aishwarya, but not so much Aishwarya, he goes to Goloka Vrindavan. But the devotees who are balanced and equally concentrated on Audarya and Madhurya, particularly he mentions Audarya and Madhurya in the Jaiva Dharma, they're in both places simultaneously. I mean, I was always told that and heard that, but when I read the Jaiva Dharma, it was corroborated like that. And I thought, this is great. This is great. So, in other words, so we preach Krishna consciousness. We don't just sit down, just, bring it back to our own personal lives. We just don't sit down and just like, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Just like, sometimes we run into people, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with Radhe. I'm not like that, the GBC rule where you're not allowed to say Radhe. There was a GBC rule. It's no longer existing. But anyways, there was a joke one time that someone got stoned for saying, there's a cartoon out there on the internet. Someone got cartoon for saying, stoned for saying, not stoned, intoxication, but, killed and stoned because they said Radhe in the temple or something like that. Someone killed them. So, you pass all these resolutions, and, impractical resolutions. Don't say Radhe, Radhe in front of the deities. What an impractical resolution. So, so yes, we sometimes say Radhe, Radhe. That's right. Jai Radhe in front of the deities. Sometimes we're reading these literatures by the Goswamis. And sometimes we're preaching how someone's not the body. It's a balance thing. Heroic activities, Madhurya activities, merciful activities, right? Balance. That's a devotee. He's balanced. Just like the other day, Adi Bruce was showing me the list of his prospective or projected publications, and none of them were about Radhe, Radhe. none of them were about it. Well, some of them actually were related to Lord Chaitanya, proving Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of God. And I just inspired. So devotees inspired by all these things. Audarya, Aishvarya, and Madhurya. That's a balanced life in Krishna consciousness. So, anyway, wanted to speak about that a little bit. Then, then Nanda Maharaj starts talking about the Leela or Krishna's play, and he mentions the sidelong glances. And I thought, you hear this expression so many times, sidelong glances. And I tried to understand what sidelong glances, I know what sidelong glances are. It's just, you look to the side. But it's interesting how these sidelong glances are sometimes manifest in a loving mood and sometimes manifest in an angry mood. In relation to that. Let me just read some of these quotes from the Bhagavatam. So this is this is actually by the side. This is from the 10th canto, 13th chapter, text 50. By the sidelong glances of their reddish eyes, created and protected by the desires of their own devotees, as if by the modes of passion. That's Lord Vishnu is being described there. As mentioned in this verse, the glance of Lord Vishnu creates the desires of his devotees. Lord Vishnu glances, sidelong glances at his devotees. A pure devotee has no desires. Therefore, Sanatana Goswami comments that because the desires of devotees whose attention is fixed on Krishna have already been fulfilled, the Lord's sidelong glances create variegated desires in relation to Krishna and devotional service. So sometimes the devotees of Lord Vishnu, he creates the desires of his devotees in relationship to service. In the material world, their desire is a product of Rajagun and Tamagun, but desire in the spiritual world gives rise to the variety of everlasting transcendental service. The word swakartanam, everybody's heard of the swakartanam? Refers to eagerness to serve Krishna. That's from the Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, 13th chapter, text 50. So that's the one type of sidelong glance. The Lord's sidelong glances inspires the devotees in devotional service. So Krishna's looking at us with sidelong glances too. Okay, maybe Paramatma is also looking at us. Why is this rascal come back to me? So then there's another verse. There's actually a lot about sidelong glances. I just thought it was interesting. We got 5 minutes. The young Vrindavan ladies cast sidelong glances at the Lord. So these glances are like glances filled with bashfulness, because they don't want to. Sometimes when you don't want to look at someone directly, or sidelong could also mean you look at someone and look away, like bashful. Hold on a second. Glances filled with bashfulness, laughter, and submission, and Sri Krishna completely accepting these glances is a proper offering of respect. It's 10th, then next one is 10th canto, 39th chapter, text 30. How can, whoops. Oh, yeah. How can we exist without Ananta's friend Krishna, who in the evening would return to Braj in the company of the cowherd boys, his hair and garland powdered with the dust raised by the cow's hooves? As he played his flute, he would captivate our minds with his smiling, sidelong glances. Now, here's another one. This is a sarcastic, next one is a sarcastic sidelong glance. 10:47:14. In this verse, we observe in Radharani's mood the seed of jealous anger which arises from an apparent disdain from Krishna. She's angry with Krishna, accompanied by a sarcastic sidelong glance directed toward him. You know, like that's how it. So that's an interesting thing. You are he, here's another quote, who impelled the ocean to give way when his sidelong glances, slightly manifesting his anger, disturbed the crocodiles and timagila fish within the watery depths. That's, of course, Lord Ramchandra. The anger, sidelong glances. Lord Ramchandra is looking at the ocean. This ocean, you know, he prayed to the ocean god, and, you know, and still nothing happened. The ocean didn't give way and make a bridge or make a path to Lanka. You know, angry. So that's Lord Rama, angry sidelong glance. Interesting. I love these sidelong glances. Here's another one. 10:60:30. I also wanted to see your face with lips trembling in loving anger, the reddish corners of your eyes throwing sidelong glances, and the line of your beautiful eyebrows knit in a frown. So that's Krishna speaking to Radharani. He wanted to see Radharani angry. You know, sidelong glance, anger side glance. So we heard about the sarcastic sidelong glance, the angry sidelong glance. The arched eyebrows, here's another one, 10:61:4. This is really interesting. I mean, I like this stuff. 10:61:4. The arched eyebrows of these 16,000 queens enchantingly express those ladies' secret intentions through coyly smiling, sidelong glances. Thus, their eyebrows boldly send forth conjugal messages. So there's more details about sidelong glances. I mean, I don't know how they did it. Yet even with those arrows of Cupid and with other means as well, they could not agitate Lord Krishna's senses. So here's another one about Subhadra and Arjuna. This is a loving one. Arjuna, this is 10:86:7. Arjuna was very attractive to women. And as soon as he saw Subhadra saw him, she wanted to have him as her husband. Smiling bashfully with sidelong glances, she fixed her heart and eyes upon him. So that's a side. I mean, I had a lot more I wanted to speak about this verse, about renunciation and how you become detached from everything material, but maybe we'll take that up. I'm going to actually give class tomorrow because I don't have a GBC meeting, but I have a GBC meeting on Thursday. So we're switching with one of the gopis. So anyway, any questions or comments? We got about 10 seconds left. It's just interesting. I just thought the whole topic is interesting with sidelong glances and the balance of Madhurya, isn't it? And Aishvarya, and how we have to have a balanced life to be Krishna conscious. Not Radhe all the time. Okay. All right. So we have to end now. There's Krishna. Radhe, Krishna and Radha.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Aravindanalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Tamaham
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Namaham Vishnu Pachaya Krishna Pachaya Bhutanai Srimate Bhaktivedanta Namaniti Namande Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurumani Pacha Devasesha Shunyavadi Pachachagade Satante Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Chitwaita Gadana Siva Sadi Gaur Matavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Govinda, Radha Shiva Sade, Gauranga Govinda. Radha Jahanda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hati Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hati Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hati Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe Jai Om Vishnupada Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Gajai Shri Radha Krishna Govinath Sayam Kun Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Gajai Vrindavanam Gajai Machuranam Gajai Jagannathaswami Gajai Gunamai Gajai Shrimati Lasti Devi Gajai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Gajai Go bring it on the Hari Hari Go. All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the Shri Guru and Gauranga, Shri Prabhupada. Cheto Darpanamarjanam, Hava Mahadvagni Nirapanam, Shreyake Ravya Chandrika Vitaranam, Vijavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhivardhanam, Pratipadam Pradamritasvadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, Tatrapitani Etadrisita Bakripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Duradivami Trishaniham. Aninana raga, Sridhara peace Nichena, Tarora peace Hishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadehati, Nadanam Najanam Sundarim, Kavitam Ha Jagadishikamaye, Mama Janmani Janmanishvare, Bavatad Bhaktir Haituki Twaye, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitamam Vishime Bhavam Buddha, Kripaya Tava Padapankaja, Sita Dhuli Sadrasham Vichintya, Nayanam Galudashrutaraya, Vadanam Gadgara Rudya Gira, Pulaka Nichitam Papukata, Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati, Yugaitam Nimishayna, Chakshusha Pravashaitam, Shunyayatam Jagat Sarvam, Govinda Vidahena Me, Ashlishava Pada, Nashdamam, Adarshanam Marmatam Karotuba, Yatadhatava Vadadatu Lampato, Mad Prananatas Dusevana Paraha. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even any hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the star on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause's devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the tears of my body stand on end the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my Lord unconditionally. Shikshashtaka ki